Business, art and well-being. What is the link? Hello and welcome to the Boostara Podcast. I am your host, James. On the Boostara Podcast, we speak to leaders in business and education and uncover the truths and insights from their amazing experiences. At Boostara, we help businesses boost growth, cut costs and gain better business insights. If you'd like to learn more about how we can help you, type the word growth into the comments below and I will be sure to reach out. Today, I'm very happy to share that we're being joined by Mike Hall, founder of MJH Art Studio. And I think probably the most artistic background, I've got to say, so far from anyone on the podcast. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, James, and thanks for having me. Well, one tries with the background to make it slightly interesting, but yes.
Yeah, well,
happy to be here.
I'll be very honest, when it comes to art, I feel very much out of my comfort zone. I used to be a teacher with young children, and I will confirm that my artistic abilities extended to, let's say I would draw an animal on the whiteboard, and my cats, my tigers, my cows, my dogs would all look the same, but just with key differentiators like udders or pointy ears or a spot. So I feel a little bit out of my depth, but I don't think it's about how good we are at art. I think that's what you're going to kind of explain and elaborate in terms of what you do in your business operations.
Yeah.
But could you just share a little bit about yourself and about your journey to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. I mean, for a start, a lot of people say when we speak to them, "Well, I can't draw." Our qualification is if you can draw a stick man, you're good enough. And that's fine, and most people can manage to rustle up a stick man. So with what we do as a business, if I tell you what we do and then I'll go back into how I kind of got here, is that we work with businesses around taking their brand and putting it on the wall, so creating bespoke pieces of art. That's one side of what we do. The other side, which has taken a sort of more of a turn over the last few months, is actually getting involved with the business for the business themselves to create the art. So actually getting their team involved. One thing we've realised that when we do art and anything like this, you kind of sink yourself into it, so you're into your own kind of space creating something. And when it comes to working with businesses, not everyone wants to do, I mean, look at it as some kind of team building if you want, or just getting the team together who might not necessarily work together all the time. So it's a way of getting them to communicate, maybe create something for their wall or for themselves, but it's just about giving them the chance to step away from what they do, get to know other people, get to know other people in their business, work together as a team and create something stunning for the wall, as I say, for themselves. And it came around through an opportunity, which was we were talking to a client about, can we go and do the art for you and create pieces similar to what you see behind, where we create a piece using their brand and visuals. And someone said, actually, it'd be great if the team could get involved. Could you do that? And it was like, well, yeah, no, why not? And that's how this whole workshop started. So the workshops work with team, we work with groups, or we even have individuals who come round to my house and actually look. They've seen what we do. Like, I've got to throw some paint around, because we don't do conventional kind of, a lot of painting shapes and trees and that kind of stuff. This is like, let's get messy. Let's throw some paint around and create things using your brand. So that's how it started. And the idea came from my background is 5 years at art college back in the 80s. I studied as a technical illustrator. So think about cutaways of cars where you see the inside of engines and all those kind of things. That's what we drew, and that was all done by hand. But you learn about acrylics, you learn about gouaches, watercolours and all those kind of things. So I've always had that in the back of my mind. And you say you can't draw, well, I actually failed my art O level. So there you go. It just, I failed that, and I failed my tech drawing as well. So which is really weird, retook them. But from there, left college and went into industry and spent 30 years working for a business where we did a lot of marketing kind of work, illustration work, design. I was there for 30 years, and then hit that sort of 50-year-old, I need to do something different. Then went on to set a marketing agency up, which is very strategy-led. But then kind of after that happened, probably about, just during COVID's got a lot to answer for, but during COVID I kind of started playing around with the paints again, throwing a few bits around, and people going, actually I quite like that. It would be really cool if we could have one of our brand colours. So I'm thinking, yeah, okay. And that's how it started. And then I got to a point where I thought, there was an opportunity for me to step away from the business I had and really focus on this full time. So about 2.5 years ago, we made the business fully limited, got registered and everything. And that's how it came around. And it's a really, I didn't expect to be here 30, 40 years ago, what I'm doing now. But actually, it's really rewarding working with businesses and seeing the difference you can make to someone when they pick a pencil up or a paintbrush or whatever it is. It's just doing something a little bit different, and it's really rewarding doing that. And that's how it came to be.
Very interesting. It's like really a mixture of who you are and your background and your experience, right? When it comes to working with businesses, in a marketing sense, to your art background, all of those things kind of muddling together. I guess, now is it clearer, why, or when you're reaching out to companies or companies are reaching out to you, for what purpose, what sort of result they want from you and from working with you?
Yeah, I think sort of our proposition has changed, I would say, over the last 7 months. We started off with the vision of going out and trying to sell art to a business, and that's quite a difficult conversation because it's not I need it now. Yeah. But as soon as we saw the benefits that we could get from teams talking together, then we can talk around actually the benefits of looking after your team, getting your team involved, making them feel wanted, and actually we actually came up with a phrase, and it was through someone was said, actually be part of the bigger picture, which is what we sort of thought, actually that's quite cool to talk about when we talk to business owners. And when I've been to a networking event today and just talking to them, you get this, I never thought of that. I didn't think we could do something like that. Everyone's used to, and I think that, the days of going down the pub, having a drink after work, and with the demographic that's coming to it, not everyone wants to do that. And it's quite a levelling exercise. So we can talk about how the best thing is not for us to talk about it, it's for the clients we've worked for. So when we work with them, we get testimonials, video content, and so on, of saying the benefits they've had. And a lot of it is, it's been nice to feel part of something. It's something different, it's enjoyable, it's fun. And it gives us a chance to get away from the day-to-day. And those are the kind of things we talk about. And we've teamed up with a couple of wellbeing partners as well. And they are very much delivering wellbeing training, bespoke events, but not doing anything around the art side. And one guy in particular, we did he came to my house actually. He said, look, before I talk about this, I need to experience it. So he was great. It was like him and Peter. He was just like Peter Kay. He was so funny. But he just said, and his background was in the mental health world, so quite well established in that space. But he said, yeah, I get it. I can see how my levels are going down. I've got presenteeism. I'm doing all the sort of things, and I'm really feeling the benefits. So yeah, those are the kind of things that help us when we talk to businesses. And it's, you know this when you're talking to any client, the chances of you landing it now, oh yeah, we just need it now, it doesn't happen. It's about sowing the seed, keeping the conversations going, being visible on LinkedIn. And I guess this is where my kind of background in the marketing stuff we've done helps. You know what you need to do. You've just got to keep being persistent and being constant.
I mean, knowing as well, from a marketing perspective, the what do you see in terms of the changing trends and the needs of companies and businesses, and where kind of you then fit in on the sort of short term, long term? I
think, well, I've got two daughters who are kind of in the 31, 34 age. That's what they are. But I know that kind of age group, they're looking for something different that a company can offer. So, back in the day, it was all about the perks and things like that, the financial gains. I think now people are more looking for, what is the business going to do for me? So how are you going to look after me? Obviously since COVID, everyone expects the hybrid working and things like that. But I think businesses are looking for, how am I looking after my team? And I think you can see that certainly with some of the larger corporations, of the types of roles that they employ. I've seen people called chief happiness officer, things like that. And these are genuine roles that I've seen, because, looking after your team is so important, because it's I know there is a stat, I can't remember it, it's more expensive to hire badly. You get the wrong person in. And I think it's all around the culture. And one of the things that we've noticed, that if we can talk to the business owner or the right person who's got the same value alignment as us, then it makes the conversation a lot easier, because they can see what you're trying to do. So I think companies are certainly more open to the fact, and I know that as I'm a trustee of a health and wellbeing practice as well. And companies, as part of their CSR or whatever they do, they want to be able to look after their team. Whereas years ago it was completely different. And now there's a real shift towards looking after your team, your staff, because it'll cost you in the long term if you don't. And you don't say it in those so many hard terms in your marketing stuff, but it's about looking after it. But I think companies are more, they're certainly more switched on to what they can do for their staff and their team.
To add on to what you said there, I would say that's definitely with the younger generations, your Gen Zders, right, coming through, that they are pushing on that, and they are going to at some point become the dominant workforce market, and this is a trend in what they're looking for, right? In terms of what does the company offer, how is the company looking after me professionally long term, but also just my basic needs. But it does also come back to, I would say, complete business sense. And you mentioned the role Chief Happiness Officer. My position when I worked in China was Brand Innovation Manager. And part of being brand innovation, it sounds a bit like it could be lots of different things, which it was. But one of the facets of that role was staff welfare. So we put on breakfasts in the morning for teachers, because the teachers we found on a Saturday and Sunday morning when we had classes were rushing in, not having breakfast and going straight into class, which in itself is not great if you're not having breakfast. So we make a convenient sort of access area for them to just grab something to eat. If you eat anything, it's going to be good for you, right? But obviously that then has a run-on effect on the students and the parents, because you've got teachers that are then a bit more energized and a bit more agreeable. But it went obviously way beyond that, but in just general looking after your staff, because if you look after your staff well and they stay on longer with you, you develop that culture within the company, that's going to improve the longevity of the business, which
I agree. And I think obviously technology helps. So like if I look back to when I left college and started working, which was 87, you had to, and I'm not knocking anything that I've done in the past, but just things change. You couldn't. I mean, what we did, we worked on 5-foot drawing boards. You couldn't have one of them at home. There was no email, there was no mobile phone, there was nothing like that. So we had to just do it and be in the office whether you liked it or not. And I think now there are other opportunities, and I think this comes down to a lot about trusting your team. To do what they say they're going to do. But it stems from the top, doesn't it? If you've got that kind of culture of you've worked your backside off and you need to take a bit of time off, then that's what you need to do. I overheard a conversation where someone saying, they work late, well, do you want to come in a bit later in the morning? Back in my day, that was like, well, you can't do that. Even if you did that, you'd have to do it for the rest of the team and so on. So I think times have changed, and I think that will only, stay this way as we move forward. But I think it's just about embracing the technology in the right way and trusting the people you work with. That's the biggest thing, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, the customers that you've worked with, the teams that you've gone into and you've done this with, what sort of transformation do you see from them during the space of the project?
Well, for a start, they start talking to each other. And that's the big thing, because give you one example of one of the clients we work with. They're a manufacturing company, and they've all got different teams that work around the building. So we work with 3 different teams, but you see them communicating with each other. And we got a video testimony of one of them afterwards saying it's actually, they can see the pride in what they've done, but they start to know each other better. That's the thing we see. And certainly when we worked with another one where we worked with the wellbeing team, it's just they've never met each other before. So there's this personality traits that come out, and they know each other and they can communicate better. And I think there's the one thing we saw with the company we worked with, where they did it for them with the wall, was definitely the communication side came up. They know each other better, they feel stronger for it, and they just got such a positive buzz of feeling included in something they wanted to enjoy. So it's that whole team spirit is where they see the benefits.
And I guess when you see the benefits and they feel the benefits, and then it's obvious that this is something that can and should be spread across other companies. I guess what's the biggest sort of pushback, do you think, that a lot of business owners would have on bringing you in and doing this kind of work?
That's a good question. It could be a bit, what's art got to do with it? It could be one of them. I think maybe a little bit of the unknown, or whether my team will like it or not, or feel a bit uncomfortable with it. I think that's probably one of the biggest things we could come against. Or I'm not sure whether they'll like it kind of approach, or they're just not embracing the idea of doing something a bit different. It may be a little bit too out there for them for us to do it. Seem a bit arty and a bit creative. A bit creative is not what we're about. But I think that's down to us to position it with them in the right way and get the right message in. So actually, but sharing with them what the benefit is. So it might be money, might be a barrier.
Yeah.
In which case, well, do you know what? Okay, maybe you don't need us for a full day. Let's do a 2-hour session where we just get them drawing and sketching.
Yeah.
So there's always we've got an approach where actually it's very customer centric, because it's about, okay, mister, what do you want out of this? Do you want something for your wall? Well, do you know what? We're not bothered, but it'd be nice for the team to do something together. Right, well, let's tailor it to that. So it's sowing the idea that we can do all these different things without trying and overcoming those objections. But we've got to do that in our marketing and the messaging that we say out, that actually it becomes a good idea. But the best thing at all is other people saying it. The people who've done it, which is where we need to lean on the testimonials and get referrals in. Certainly that's one of the way. And hopefully by the way that we treat people when we work with them, we kind of very much, it's myself and Nikki who works with me, it's very much about encouraging. There's no bad art. It's just maybe you're not as good as maybe you want to be, and it's just about how you can encourage those people and say, look, yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's all about positive encouragement, and we've taken people who've suddenly had a go and thought, oh, this is taking me right back to when I was at school. And they've loved it, and they've started doing things again, and it's great, I've loved it, and that's what we get. Yeah. Hardly any ever negative feedback, so we have to share that.
It's interesting you mentioned that on like the testimonial side as well as like the messaging. As I guess as someone from marketing, is that an important sort of balance to get in terms of how you kind of scale up and move forward into the future, that you want to find the right customers, the people that can really get on board with
100%
the results that you want to achieve.
Yeah, 100%. It's all around value alignment and finding the right type of customer. If someone goes, how much is that then? Yeah, probably not the right customer for us. But it is, and it's understanding. We always talk in the market, about finding your niche or whatever. Now we've got a fairly niche offering, but it's finding those businesses where we can because we've just done manufacturing, we've worked with professional services, and we've worked with a logistics company. Yeah. Those are the kind of business you think actually we could start to talk to. But it's all around the messaging and the positioning about these kind of things and understanding, so people can read and go, actually, yeah, I get it. So and it doesn't come overnight, it takes time. Yeah. Where we were 2 years ago is completely different to where we are now. Yeah. And so there is an opportunity to grow this. We're just bringing up our first networking event. So in a month's time, we're doing a Connect and Create networking event where instead of just standing around talking with a coffee, you're going to come in, you're going to meet all the business owners, but we're going to get you drawing. Yeah. Because not everyone likes to walk into a room with a business card and think, okay, who am I talking to now? And so there's opportunities for us to grow this into different areas and different parts, maybe of the country. And even, someone suggested, we can franchise this, Mike. And I'm like, okay, let's take one bit at a time. But why not, get other people to facilitate it, other people who are creative, to just think. And this, for me, is all about encouraging people. It's not going and say, this is how we're going to do it. Yeah. It's like you having a go. So, we're doing that. But also the next thing we're looking at is an online offering. So teams who are remote, we can actually create a package and send them everything out. So we would send out the sketchbook, the pencils and everything else. So they've got it, and we can do an online version. And we've already got someone who wants to pilot that with us in January. So there's no excuse for not doing it if the business owners, really wants to give it a go.
You've inspired a couple of questions in me. Now, I suppose I could start with the first one, because the thing I think with art that must be so important when you're delivering, right? Is I've got my phone here, like phones away.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Focus, right? It's the everyone is focused on that one same thing, as opposed to potentially being in a meeting where they're supposed to be focused on the meeting, but because they've got the phones on them and messages are coming through and the laptop's dinging, that the attention is all over the place. And I guess that's the biggest sort of kind of well-being attribute, if you like, from art. Is that just that focus, that they're just doing one thing.
It is, and it's amazing if you start, and whether that's a doodle or something, or drawing something pointless, it doesn't matter. You go out yourself, you're in a zone of just creating something. So you can see behind me, there's a green frog. There's some green frogs there. You can see behind me. So this came from a lady called Sally Roberts. We'd been to this event. It was for me called Eat That Frog. So it's about getting your problems out of the way and all that. So we take this stuff as long as still life, and we'll create a load of things and we'll put loads of stuff out. And these green frogs appear. We put these green frogs, and people start drawing them. And we've got frogs that look like frogs, and we've got frogs that don't look like frogs, but they're in it, and they've just let they just let themselves go. And if you want to do a pink frog, it's fine. There's no right and wrong.
Yeah.
But they're in it, and they're sharing it with each other, and they're laughing, and everyone's going, "Oh, that's fantastic what you've done there," and love it. Oh yeah, great. And then what we do at the end of it is we put them all in the picture frame, so they can take a picture frame home with what they've done. And as soon as you put anything in the picture frame and say, "Right, sign it as well," it's just like, well, that's going on the wall at home, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you're right. It makes you think about and concentrate on it, and everything else just goes out your mind.
Mm-hmm. And that, I guess the second thing with tech and with phones and just the increasing technological landscape that we live in, and I'm going to mention AI and
yeah.
It is, I guess, that is maybe a double-edged sword, right? In that it can provide the opportunity for you in terms of growth and reach, and where you can, how you can scale the business and where you can operate. But
100%.
also perhaps the challenge as well. I'm just wondering what how do you see?
Well, I mean, if people wanted to work on iPads and draw, I mean, I've got an iPad and I sketch on it and draw on it as well. For me, it's not the same. But if that's what the client wanted and said, well, we've got all these iPads and we've got this, well, let's do it on that. That's fine. Yeah, there's loads of stuff you can do with the software and play around, but it's having the imagination to create something is the key thing. Now, look, at the end of the day, and I've always said this, when we moved from the drawing board doing these illustrations that were the size of an A2 bit of paper to whether you do it on a Mac, it's just a tool that allows you to do it. You still got to have the idea and know what you want to create. So we always suggest and give them things to draw so they're not thinking. Because if I say to you, right, James, draw me something, you'll spend 10 minutes going, well, I don't know what to draw. But if we put something up in front of you and say, right, you're going to draw what's behind you, then you'll do it. But whether you end up using an iPad or we create something, a mixture of both. I mean, I know digital artists who do things, so there's no reason why we can't. Our preferred method is what we do. But if a client, again, it comes back to what the client wants. If the client says, can we do something digitally, Mike? Then we go, right, okay. What have we got and how can we do it? So there's lots of opportunities. It's just, what I've learned over many years is kind of like, yeah, we can do that, and we work out how to do it. There's always a solution to something. It's just, you just get on with it and try and find it. So I think you just embrace it in the right way. And use it if we need to use it, and if we don't, then we'll stick to good old pencils and paper.
Well, where do you think AI fits into your sort of niche industry space?
I think,
and your, how are you seeing the kind of impact or the kind of the implications of AI usage?
I think it's another good question, and I was chatting about it. About it today. Actually, I think, again, you can use it if you've got the idea you want to create something. Then you can do. I think, personally, I use it in the business for a lot of research, a lot of creating maybe structured lessons, plans, thinking of ideas for content, all those kind of things. Research, I use it for all the time, creating stuff for me. When it comes to the art, I've dabbled with it and tried to create some images, but then soon realised that actually they're a lot of rubbish and I don't like them. And it's not, it's just not what I have in my head as to what I would want to see. And I'm quite I suppose I'm a very visual person, so I know in my head what I want, and I could waste so much time on AI trying to create an image that I just not what I need. I think used in the right way, I think it's fine. It will get used with what we do, but I can't see us ever going down the route of saying to everyone, right, let's have a session on it. Right, I want you to use AI to create an image. We would always want to go on the route of, well, we're going to create it manually, or using a tablet or something like that. I would never want to go in, because to me, I don't think that's giving you the same sensory feel, and I'd be getting stressed out if every time I pressed the button and something came up that I didn't like, I'd be getting like, this is ridiculous, I don't want to do it. Whereas you're in control of what you do yourself, and I think that's part of the fun is actually being creative and putting a mark on a bit of paper And I've always had this buzz. When we used to start off with blank bit of paper and you create something in 3 dimensions that's been airbrushed or done whatever, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
When you start with a blank bit of paper and you come up with something and you look at it and you think, oh yeah, it's okay. But when you show that to a person for the first time and they go, wow, that's really cool. And I've said this to a number of people who've created things and, oh, I don't like it, it looks rubbish. I said, yeah, but hang on a minute. You're looking at it all the time. We're the same. If I do a painting and I'm looking at it all the time, I'm thinking, yeah, it's all right. But you share it with someone who's never seen it before, that's the impact.
Yeah.
That's the buzz that you really get.
I guess that, you know, the beauty of art and the beauty of specifically, you know, your service, what you do, it's about the process. It's not about the finished product. It's the
100%.
process that people are going through. Like, sure, AI, it will get better, and there will. You know, they talk about you know, AI being able to create art that we can't differentiate. If it's human created or AI generated, and the same with TV shows. They're saying, you know, not too far away will be a future where we go onto Netflix and we just say into the remote the kind of show that we want to watch and it will create it for us, which is maybe fair enough from an end point. If you just want to go and enjoy art, or you just want to go and enjoy show, but what you do, it's about the process. I think that's the most transformational thing.
Yeah, and you're right. It's almost the art is a byproduct. You know, I said that today to someone. It's what you get out of it and how we can get people to interact together and have the conversations. Because, you know, a lot of people now, they don't like picking up the phone, they don't like talking to people. It's all hidden behind, you know, chat, WhatsApp, and the rest of it. We actually want people to talk, and that's because, you know, I don't care what anyone says. People buy from people. And I think that's really fundamental to what we're talking about. It's about having the conversation, you know, having a laugh, having a smile on your face when you do these things. And I just don't think you can get the same result using, you know, AI. I think, you know, it's going to come, you know, without a doubt. And, you know, I'll be retired or whatever, you know, hopefully, you know, in 10 years' time or whatever that might be. But I don't. It'd be a real shame to lose the human interaction that we try and get over. You know, with individuals who, you know, and the thing is with a team, you've got a mix of people, haven't you? You've got a mix, you've got the reds, you've got the greens, you've got the blues, you know, when you look at your disc profiling. And everyone wants something different, but you all need to be together. Interestingly, the other thing I do is I'm a young enterprise business advisor. So I work with schools on the young enterprise programme. And it's about encouraging those young people to talk to each other, and they have to build, you know, they have to make a company, they've got to build a product and sell it. I've had some success with that in the past, but getting them to interact is really key, and get them to talk to each other and realise it doesn't have to be done all on WhatsApp. You know, so it would be really sad if we lose the human interaction. I think AI can be great and save a lot of time and automate a lot of processes, but, you know, I think the one thing we don't want to lose is how we chat with each other.
Absolutely.
And that's the fun bit. To be fair. And that's where we can get the most value from ourselves and from life, right? Is interaction. Yeah, it is.
We're social beings. That's what we.
100%. Yeah.
Taking off your artistic hat and putting on your marketing hat is really interesting. You with your background in marketing, how do you see the impact AI is having just from a marketing perspective or a business building perspective?
I think it can be overused. I think people can use it and then just not check it, and it's churning out same old stuff. I think there's a danger of that it doesn't become your authentic self. I think, you know, resonating what people's challenges are and what people's problems are. I think AI can only do so much. I mean, clearly it will get better, but I think it depends on the type of business you've got. You know, it's gonna, you know, the guy who fixes the plumbing in your house. You know, why is it? You know, it's going to be different for someone like who's in maybe the finance industry who needs to do a lot different. I'm just, you know, using that as an idea, but I think, I think from the marketing point of view, you've got to be careful that it doesn't become too false. And you know, some of the stuff you see on LinkedIn, I'm not convinced it's, you know, generated by hand effectively. You know, it's done with AI, and is it the right thing? I'm not sure. I think there's a place for it, as I've said, but I think you just got to be careful but that comes down to your own beliefs and your own unique selling point, but also your own values as to what you do. You know, it can certainly be used in great ways for automation and, you know, building. I mean, don't get me wrong, I use it and it can come up with some amazing campaigns, but, you know, they've got to be realistic at the end of the day. Yeah. And once you start seeing some of the wording that comes through, you're thinking, yeah, okay, it looks a bit a bit AI, and I think certainly with imagery as well, I think you've got to be a little bit careful because you know, people want to build up this perfect persona of what they're really like and everything's fantastic, when underneath, you know, it can be real tough. And I think sometimes you've got to be open on that and talk about the vulnerabilities that you have, and everything's not polished. You know, everyone sees the serene duck, and then but their legs are going like, you know, 10 to the dozen underneath. So, but it's the old adage, isn't it? Everyone looks on social media and it's the perfect world. Everyone's doing fantastically well, and I'm making six figures and I'm doing all this kind of stuff. You know, no one knows the real truth about what's going on. I think it's good to be, but I think also it's good to be challenged. So getting like a mentor involved or something like that to help you and be challenged on some of this stuff.
That's really interesting. I've heard a few sort of talks and phrases kind of pop out about, you know, AI. It's going to create. It's going to be it's going to create the most amount of millionaires within such a short period of time, and a lot of those are going to be young people, which is amazing, obviously, but as well for those young people. There's experience, right? So you can be a successful young business person, which is fantastic. You would agree with, you know, the young enterprise that you're in.
100%.
But it doesn't replace the wisdom of the experience that you gain over time from dealing with dealing with clients, dealing with just general business, right? Building up business acumen. And I guess, you know, from your point of view, you know, do you see a use case for you know, AI within your own business to grow up, you know, onto those next sort of steps or stages? So you mentioned you've relied a lot on referrals, right? Recommendations, people that have seen firsthand that you've had. Do you see that use case for you to grow, or is that sort of not a direction that you would want to take?
I think we want to grow it because really all we want to do is deliver workshops. So we do want to grow it, but that could be a case of using the AI to help us do that in terms of generating the right leads, collecting data, and so on. So I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not here to make millions out of this thing. It isn't, you know, where I'm in life at the minute. I'm 60 next year. This is about actually continuing something that I'm enjoying doing. But there's no reason why it can't continue. Yeah. But using it in the right way, and it was interesting, I was having a conversation with someone today who goes into businesses and they look at how AI can help them. And I think probably what we get to is like looking at all the processes we have and getting someone in and going, right, okay, how can we make this better? By using the AI to take away some of the laborious stuff. I mean, I use elements of it, paid chat and things like that to create my own things. But, you know, having someone look at stuff from an external perspective and going, well, these are the processes we can automate this, we could do that. That's like, right, okay. That would then allow us to do what we want to do and let the business grow in the other ways. So I think you've got to be open to getting the support from experts to help you do those kind of things. So I think there's two things here. There's being aware of it and knowing actually, you know, but you can't do everything. Yeah. And certainly as a solo business, you know, small business owner, you can't do everything. You try to do everything, but you can't. Yeah. So getting external help to help you, bringing an expert to do that for you. And you've got to find the right people to go, actually, we could do this, and here's the possible ROI on doing it. Yeah.
What you said there, that rings very, very true. I gave a talk just last week at the Hull and East Riding Business Expo event, and three things I said there were audit, so know what your problem is, because there's 40,000 tools out there.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, it's easy to get swept up and overwhelmed and think, okay, they're saying this is the best tool for client acquisition or for this particular workflow or CRM. Take it and try to figure out how does it fit into my business. Or, I don't know, it's not really working. Well, that's not the way that it works. You've got to look at yourself, your business, the industry, the niche, the situation that you're in is extremely unique, and there isn't going to be one just take off the shelf tool that's going to solve all the problems, right? So firstly, you need to know what those problems are, and then look for the tools.
Yeah.
And then there's the strategy, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like the carpenter fable, right? The carpenter making the chairs and tables, and it's not. There's something wrong with my tools, right? There's nothing wrong with the tools. It's the person wielding the tools, right?
Yeah.
So how do you use them in the right way, dependent on your situation, and then it's the ROI, because it's not a given that this is going to be worth the investment, right? There's got to be clear ROI in it, like for any kind of tech solution or any kind of investment you put in. And I think if you follow those 3 rules, then you get something that will help to speed up the make it more efficient. But if you're just looking at it for the sake of put it in, then no.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. One of the things I've done previously is do customer journey mapping. So we've actually mapped out clients' journeys. Manually. Actually, you do it as a sketch and you draw it, and what happens next, and it's quite funny when I've done those in the past, the business owner's going, oh, well, this is what happens. And then someone will go, no, it doesn't. We stopped that ages ago. Yeah. And you're like, okay. So, but if you go through that process of really methodically writing down what you do and where it goes, and this is what happens here, and this is my next touch point, and then when they ring this is what happens next, and we send them this, that at that point you can go, well, actually, you can automate all that. Mm. So, but unless you know and you're clear in your own mind about that, as you rightly say, you've got to understand your process before you can start going, well, we need to automate this bit. And it like I say, it's taken us 6, 7, 8 months now to understand that the workshops are the way to go. Yeah. So we need to start thinking about, okay, how can we, get those more of, and how do we get in front of those right customers? That's the key for us.
Exactly, yeah. And you mentioned the networking event that you're going to soon.
Yes.
Is there anything else in the pipeline going forward?
Well, everyone's going, oh, when are you doing another one? We haven't done the first one yet. It's just like everyone's going, this is great, we want to do it, but we can't come when you're doing another one. So anything else in the pipeline? No, I think we really now, and I'm saying this, we're saying we, that's me, myself and Nikki who works with me, we've got to the point where actually we've really kind of strengthened in on the proposition, which is we do it, you do it. That's it. So bespoke art, we'll do it, you do it. And then we offer the workshops. So we can still do the original pieces like you see behind, or direct, great, but we stick with the workshops. We don't want to start adding more and more stuff on it. So I think we've got to focus on pushing more of those. Where we'd love to get to is getting into a bigger organisation where we can not only just go in once, but maybe they've got multiple teams. We could go in once a month. Yeah, exactly. That would be fantastic for us to do that. So that's really our ambition, to get more of those bigger clients is where we want to be. Keep the one-to-one stuff, keep the bespoke pieces. And then the networking, if it takes off, no reason why we can't do more of those. We've already had someone say, actually, I could do one in Brighton for you. We're like, okay, well, all right. We need to get the first one done, see what we've spent, get the testimonials, get everyone to say how good it is, get it plastered over social media, and then we can go, right, okay, let's do another one. Yeah. Because there's a financial outlay we have, not massive, but we've got to pay for venues. And my biggest fear with all these things is I want people to enjoy it. When we run the workshops are great, but you've always got this, what if they don't like it? Yeah. And that's my own belief, and I've always been like that. I always really care, and whatever we deliver has got to be right. Yeah. And so I don't want anyone to feel, it's almost like, you okay, did you enjoy it? And maybe, that's what we want to make sure, is that people go away going, actually, yeah, we had a really good time, we enjoyed it, and if we can do that, then job done.
Yeah. I guess then, good question. You mentioned big businesses, reach out to big businesses, but then the networking is really for anyone that could really benefit from that. I mean, do you have an ideal client sort of in mind? What who does?
I mean, one of the things that kind of tipped my box would be someone like Haribo, because I really like when you look at what they do on social and they look around how they look after their team and their people. They really seem to be a people-centric business. So it's people like that, people who, again, I was doing research on chat with this. We were talking about the sorts of businesses we should go after and what we should do. And actually, the way to find out is those people who promote when their staff do great things. If you've got a company who's saying, this is our employee of the month, or the team did this, we did this with the team, we did team. They're the people we want to talk to, because they clearly care about their employees. Yeah.
So that is an open door then.
That's yes, So there's a lot of research we need to do and finding out the right people, because you got these companies and they got, whereas the networking we're doing is more perhaps aimed at smaller business, but so they might have a team.
Yeah.
But we just want to, these kind of networking events are there to raise our profile. It's to, people will go away and go, oh, do you know what, we had a really good time at that, maybe we should try the next one. And so you get the word of mouth and so on.
Yeah.
So it's investment from our point of view. It's not there to make massive amounts of money. It's there as a brand awareness piece. As much as anything, we can make brand awareness of what we do. People will talk about it, and then we run another, and so on and so on and so on. And hopefully, we can get to a point where people are wanting to book on because they've heard great things about it. So that's the plan. So
right.
Yeah, so we'll do the networking. We'll keep with the group stuff and the one-to-one, and that's probably going to be the core of what we do. Originally when we set out, the idea was to maybe target interior designers and fit-out companies. Because bespoke art would go nice with their scheme of work and so on. So that was the route we went down. And then after a while we realised it was quite quite a lot of work for not a lot of return. And not because it was a bad idea. Clearly on these kind of projects we're not a priority. Which is fair enough. They've got other things to deal with and we're just not there, and maybe we're just too far down the chain to think actually, yeah, we'll do it. So that was a quick kind of realisation that maybe that's a tough route to do. We also thought about getting involved with other artists so we could go to a client and go, this is what we can do, and promote other styles of work. But again, that was quite tough to do, and yeah, we get lots of great idea, yeah, we'll be in touch kind of thing, and then it doesn't happen. So the success we started to find was the more open conversations around the workshops and the networking. Those kind of things seem to stimulate people's thought process. So we've kind of changed a little bit from when we started off. But that's what you have to do sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, amazing. I mean, Mike, if anyone is listening, that's director level at Haribo, or
anyway, yeah, absolutely,
or simply a company that cares about their staff, interested in your services, or equally interested in the joining the workshop.
Yes, 100%.
Based in the Leeds, sort of wider Leeds area, right?
Yeah, we're doing the event in the central Leeds on 13th of November. It's the central Leeds. We've got a landing page and the rest of it. So if anyone's interested, they can drop me a message, and we'll point you in the right direction.
What is the best contact details to get?
So the best number is on my phone, which is 07802 309 476, or you can email me at mike@mjhartstudio.com. is the easiest thing, or you can find us on mjhartstudio.com, and there's a contact us where you can book a link to have a chat with me in my diary and so on. So yeah, that's the best way for people to get in touch.
Brilliant. I will put those contact details below for everyone to reach out to you. But Mike, I guess in conclusion, the biggest sort of takeaways for myself. One is that you don't need to be good at drawing. You don't need to be good at art.
100%.
That's what I'm feeling. So I'm definitely interested in the workshop.
Yeah.
Because now I know I don't need to be an amazing artist. I can join. But more seriously is bringing teams together, getting teams to communicate, and getting teams to focus on one particular project. This is really the benefit that art, business, well-being, bringing those things together,
100%
can have. And if you do care about your staff, do care about your employees, and you care about the longevity of your company, especially with new generation of workforce coming in, this is exactly the kind of initiative that you should be involved with, and not just as a one quick fix. I know we didn't really talk about that, but I imagine as a sustained culture building kind of initiative.
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly we've spoke with people who are culture change experts and things like that, and we can almost work with people like that as part of it, because it becomes a mindset shift. But it stems from the top, doesn't it? Yeah. If the business owners are keen for it and this is how they want to do it, if people don't want to do that kind of thing, it's not for them, then they're not the right fit for the business. So the harsh reality is sometimes change is difficult for some people, but it's up to the people at the top to embrace it and take it on and see the benefit from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Well, Mike, it's been an absolute pleasure having you.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thank you for the opportunity. I've really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. And thank you everyone for listening. Please like and share this video so we can get this out to as many people as possible. Thank you very much.
Cheers.